Welcome back to Table Talk. Today our show is going to focus on childhood cancer awareness. I would like to welcome Miss Marlene Delong from the American Cancer Society and Deitra Dunlap to the show. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So September is National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, as we said, and the impact of childhood cancer is just far too prevalent and just devastating for families. And Deitra, your family knows this firsthand. Tell us about your son's story.
Jackson, he's now 13 years old, but his story with cancer started when he was 3 years old. I'll preface this by saying Jackson has Down syndrome, and we have learned that children with Down syndrome are at a heightened risk of getting leukemia. So when he was 3 years old, he was diagnosed with ALL, and sadly we went to Vanderbilt on a Thursday, and the Tuesday before, another little girl from McMinnville, Presley Slatton, she had gone in on Tuesday, so just 2 days before was another child with cancer.
And tell us what, I'm going to interrupt just a second.
Yes.
I'm sorry, ALL, what kind is that?
ALL is acute lymphocytic leukemia.
Okay.
And it's a leukemia that starts in the bone marrow and attacks your white blood cells. It's a cancer of the blood.
Okay, okay.
So he did make it through several years of treatment back when he was 3 years old. It was very tough on him, and the treatment is very long. It's like 5 years before you're finished.
Wow.
And this March, he just wasn't feeling well. He had pneumonia, and we couldn't kick it. And we see Greta Minton here in McMinnville. Is our doctor, and she and I both just had a little bit of a bad feeling. She was with us before that we should go on to Vanderbilt, and the blood test did show that his leukemia had relapsed. So he is right now in treatment, and we're started in March, so we're that far in.
Well, I'm going to follow up later on just in a bit about some other how your family is affected by it and his process. Marlene, tell us some of the statistics about how common childhood cancer is.
Well, you know, Karen, back several years ago, childhood cancer wasn't that common, or maybe people just didn't talk about it as much and weren't as aware, you know, of cancer. But now I think that childhood cancer is a much, well, of course, any rate, but it's a very alarming rate. And studies and statistics have shown that about 420 children will die from cancer.
Is that per month, per year?
Per year.
Per year, okay.
Yeah, about 420 children per year will die from
Right,
cancer.
and that doesn't count all of those that are really just going through it within the battle, taking treatment and things like that. So the number, I'm sure, is far greater than that. That's just the sad end of the spectrum, or the where they do not, I guess, I hate to say don't win the battle, because it is a battle, and in the end they win anyway. So what kind of childhood cancer? I know there's lots of different kinds, and it can all be confusing. What are some of the most common?
Yes, I guess the most common would be leukemia. And leukemia rates in childhood cancer are about 30%. That makes up all the cancer, is about 30%. Then there's lymphoma, either, you know, the Hodgkin's and the non-Hodgkin's would fall into that group. Neuroblastoma, retinoblastoma, brain and spinal cord cancer is real common in children. So, but like I said, leukemia being about 30%, that's probably the most common.
And Deitra, you said that you learned, I guess, after Jackson was diagnosed, that is common with Down's children.
It is. We, of course, when we had Jackson, we didn't really know anything about Down syndrome, so we dove into all the literature that we could find and tried to learn everything about it. But I think, and we thought we were doing great. We were skipping out on all the typical things that children deal with Down syndrome, and I think we overlooked that leukemia part. But there are lots of, every time we go to clinic, there's lots of little Down syndrome faces there in the oncology clinic.
Have they found what the correlation is?
They
to
haven't.
that?
I've read and read, and I try to keep up with the new research, and they don't know what it is that causes a child
The
with
link,
Down.
I guess, between the
right,
two.
Right.
So, you know, you think of an adult going through cancer and what, how difficult that is. I can't even imagine a child and they don't fully understand. What are some of how does their treatment differ from an adult's treatment?
Well, it is very different, Karen, and especially in children, like you said, they don't understand. But research and studies have been found that chemo works better in children, you know, with cancer instead of radiation. And then, of course, at a young child, even, you know, at 3 years old, you have to watch those children for many years in follow-up in their treatment. So,
Well, in a child, I know from what I've gathered, cleanliness and things like that, you know, and they're always putting things in their mouth, and I can just everyday things that an adult knows. Hey, I need to wash my hands. A kid just doesn't automatically know that at that age when they're going through it. Tell us, Deitra, about what the families go through.
Well, that is one thing. I think when Jackson 10 years ago was first diagnosed, you know, our family we had to make so many changes. And I had 2 other children. I have 2 other children. And they were so active. They were young teenagers at that time, and we really had to take on a new lifestyle of, you know, we really didn't have any guests over, and we didn't go anywhere with Jackson. We kept him at home. A lot of people don't do that. I've noticed lots of people carry on, but from the advice we were given, we thoroughly, of course, cleaned our carpets in our home, and had hand sanitizer at every door and in our cars, and just wore masks and tried to keep germs at bay, because the least thing can really set a cancer patient back, especially a little child. That was one struggle Jackson has had this time. When he was initially diagnosed, we went in with pneumonia, so he was already really struggling, and it took probably 8 weeks to get through that pneumonia. And then a few weeks later, a month or so later, he had a ruptured appendix and had to have his appendix out. So any other battles that you face are so much harder whenever you're in treatment.
Because it seems like other things follow the cancer.
Right. Your immune system is so weak, and you know, at times the treatment is just totally to wipe out your immune system and to see if it can grow back on its own. So they're very, very vulnerable.
Tell us about the emotional impact that it has on your family. I'm sure your life is really never the same.
It isn't.
But maybe in a good way.
I have so many people that will say, you know, I don't know how you do it. And I think you just don't think about it. You just instantly go into survival mode. And that's where you are totally putting your trust in the doctors to do what they say. And but it changes your whole life.
I'm sure the siblings, I see pictures and things like that on your Facebook page and stuff, and they seem to really surround Jackson with lots of love and attention.
They adore him, and it really keeps him motivated. They call him daily, FaceTime with him, and visit him all the time, and he really gets a lot of strength from that. But my kids, they've learned a lot as well. Lucas and Olivia are 24 and 26, and they've grown up with it. They've had 10 years of cancer in their lives, and they take care of him just as much as Joe and I do. So we've really all had to adjust.
Well, thank goodness for
help.
Yes, yes. I mean, I'm sure you would say you can't do it without them.
Can't do it without them. And Joe's parents, David and Linda Dunlap, they live here in town, and they play a big part in the care of Jackson. And my mother, Wilba, she's with him right now while I'm here. So having all that help, we couldn't make it without it.
Well, that leads us right into the question I have about, you know, what you can do to help support families that are going through this. What are some things that just really, you know, have helped you get through it as far as support?
Well, obviously, now with so much technology and social media, it is nice to be able to post Jackson's progress on Facebook and not have to tell his story over and over. So that's helpful. And I think one time, and it was before Jackson got sick, I recommended that someone, you know, not give too many gifts, because whenever you are in the hospital and you're undergoing treatment, all you do is drive. So gas cards are so nice.
Oh, I could
you
imagine.
drive back and forth to Nashville so much. And then on say clinic days, you know, you're going to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner out.
Yes.
And if you're stuck in the hospital for weeks, you know, Jackson's first admittance was 38 days. We were in the hospital. His second admittance was 33 days. We were in the hospital. So eating out. So gift cards are so nice to give to families when you don't know what to do. There are little places to eat in the hospital, and that it's so helpful. And I got tons from friends and family around town for Jackson, and we used them up immediately, just in those 2 really big stays in the hospital. So we were so thankful for it.
And just like you said, I can see people giving their love and expressing their thoughts and prayers on your Facebook page.
Yes.
And
It just gives you strength.
It does.
It gives you
I'm
strength.
sure it does.
One thing that we've had that Jackson enjoyed so much is you can go online and send e-cards to the hospital, and they print them out and bring them to your room. And we had his room just covered. His walls were lined with little cards that people had sent, and just, you know, Bible classes and classrooms of elementary schools, and different groups have sent all the little handmade cards, and he loves it so much.
What a good thing to cheer
Yes,
him up when
yes.
he's having a tough day.
Yes.
So, you know, we read, I read, Marlene, that kind of there's a lot, you know, that cancer survival rates are going up. What do you attribute that to?
Well, Karen, largely in part, I think it's to research, the new medications, the new treatments. All those things kind of play into the picture of survival rates. But I would think that the big thing is just research, because more and more they're finding out, you know, what type of drug to treat a certain cancer with, or what type of treatment that needs to be used on a patient. So.
And we had talked, I believe, about, you know, children seem to be a little, the trials seem to be a little bit more available to children than what they used to be.
Yes, the clinical trials, and that's a very good point that you brought up. We do a lot of clinical trials in children, and the American Cancer Society actually funds those type of clinical trials and tries to get the children matched up with them.
So is Jackson taking any, is his
He's
pretty
not
much?
this time, but he did the first time. He participated in a clinical trial.
Okay.
As a relapse patient, because he has ALL again, treatment would typically be the same, but with a relapse patient, they have to alter some things. And then also with the Down syndrome patient, they have to alter some things.
Really? So it would not be the same?
It's not the same, right.
Wow. And you could imagine the research that goes into, you have to do, you know, a Down's child and see the effects on that.
And I don't think I really appreciated research until Jackson. Of course, I didn't appreciate any of this until Jackson was diagnosed and it became our life. But the research part, just in Jackson's lifetime, there have been, research has shown some things that they've changed to help the statistics for a child with Down syndrome. So it really makes me appreciate research.
Well, going to the research, let's talk about fundraising, because that is such a huge part of research, and your expertise, which is Relay for Life. I know you're probably already planning some, and tell us what counties you represent as far as relay goes.
I have Warren County, White, DeKalb, Grundy, Van Buren, Cumberland, so I'm all around.
Quite a big footprint you have there.
Yeah, quite a big area to cover, but and the fundraising part is vital to to our mission, to finding a cure for cancer. Of course, that's what we all want. But without the fundraising part, like the Relay for Life, which is a huge huge chunk of the money is Relay for Life. So without that part, without the community, without our sponsors and our teams, our committees, without the fundraising part, I think we would be we wouldn't have near as much research as we do. And the thing about research, Karen, talking a little bit more about that, is we actually have people, these up and coming people that are studying different types, and so they will apply for our research grants. And we have people that apply for childhood cancer, breast cancer, so we're working on all types of cancer and the research that it affects each individual with.
That's a good point. I guess I never had thought about that, but you've got your people that are so gifted and so smart that want to do the research, and they have to have the funds to be able to do that and to pay for that. And we may be here contributing, maybe we buy candy bars at the drive-through, or we're buying a t-shirt or attending a relay. But it all adds up.
It does. Every penny counts. So that's why, that's why it's important when you see a car wash or a yard sale for relay or the events that are happening, just stop by and support the teams.
And I think we always hear every day or every year at Relay just how much of the money helps locally. It's not going off even though the research may be being done in other areas, a lot of it does stay local.
That's true, Karen, it does. And we're so blessed here in the area that we live in, just like Deitra said earlier, we do have Vanderbilt that we support the researchers at. We have St. Jude over in Memphis. We support researchers there. We have UT in Knoxville. So our state is one of, local. Tennessee is local rather than having our research dollars go off to, D.C. or Emory in Atlanta. We are fortunate here to keep a lot of our money, what we say, local in Tennessee. So that's a very good thing.
And Deitra, I guess it is a blessing to have such advanced places here within, relatively short driving distance.
I remember when Jackson was first diagnosed, they said, do y'all live close? And we said, oh, well, we have to drive like an hour and a half. And they said, oh, well, it's in your back door. And I was like, wow, it is in my back door.
True.
Because there are people there that I meet every week that, are just packing up and trekking across, states to get to Vanderbilt.
Get the treatment that they need.
One thing I'd like to say, when Jackson was first diagnosed, I had a friend that said, don't you think, what about going to St. Jude? Hadn't you rather go there? Are they better? Or so I asked our doctors. Everything was brand new, and we didn't know. I had never taken my other children to Vanderbilt, so I wasn't familiar with it at all. And he said, I wish people would understand that we wouldn't do anything at Vanderbilt and keep it a secret and not share it with St. Jude. Just as anything they do that works, they will share it with us and the world. So he said, no particular hospital is going to have a great treatment that we don't all know about. So I think a lot of people wonder, though, is it better to go
because you
to
want
another?
the best.
Right.
Your
Maybe
child.
maybe one is publicized more or more popular.
Yes.
They might think, well, maybe we should go there. And but we were reassured over and over that we were exactly where we need to be, and we agree.
That's like I said, wonderful to have a place that is within driving distance that you can go to and make it home in the same day, be back possibly in your bed at night after a treatment or a visit that day.
Right.
So what's going on right now, I guess, with Relay for 2018? What do we need to look forward to?
Well, I think we're going to have some exciting news, so still not got the plans finalized, but we're hoping to make some changes and get our relay give it a shot in the arm. So we're excited about that.
Now, how many years has relay been taking place in this area here?
In this area in Warren County, I would probably say about 20 years. But Relay for Life as a whole is on its 33rd year.
Wow.
So yeah, Relay for Life, and when it initially started, it was about 33 years ago in Tacoma, Washington. But back to what's going on. So like I said, we have some exciting stuff that hopefully we can look forward to next year. And November is coming up real soon. So if anyone out there is interested in Dancing with Our Stars event, that's always a fun event. So if you know anybody that wants to dance or do a little singing act or a little, that's always fun. So we're taking contestants for that. Actually, we already have our first set of contestants, so we're ready to get that
And that
started.
takes a lot of practice and
does. It takes a
dedication
lot
on
of
their part,
practice.
because I would dare say the general participant does not go out and do the waltz and the cha-cha on a daily basis.
So they do. My daughter participated for a couple years, and she would have a certain evening that we would practice. And then I know some of the other contestants, they practice on a weekly basis. And of course, I have to mention Miss Elaine Lawson. She's really put her heart and soul into that one fundraising event. So if you have any questions about Dancing with the Stars, just contact Miss Elaine.
And then, as we know, right after, seems like the holidays, January kicks in with a lot of the planning and fundraising efforts. The teams locally start kind of chit-chatting about what events that they're going to be doing, whether it's barbecue lunches or pizza sales or anything like that.
T-shirts, candy bars, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
it'll be here before we know
we're
it.
excited to see the changes. I know every year we have had a team, and you know, we've done everything from cook hamburgers to have games, and it's neat to see the teams evolve too, because it's nice to have new and fresh teams coming in. You know, because we've been doing it so long, there's like nothing we haven't done to raise a little money for it. But it's interesting to see all the different teams and the neat ideas that they come up with.
Very creative.
Yes, they are. They are. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for taking the time to come talk about this. It's such an important issue. We have had far too many children in our area that have been diagnosed with cancer, and just relieved to see that there's research going on to help them, and that there's support out there for these families. Because Deitra, you talked about your helpers and how you couldn't do it without them, but not everybody has that.
Not everybody has that. You're so right. We always share our things with other families whenever we're at the hospital for those long stays, because there are people that really come in there with nothing. And it's heartbreaking. Makes you feel kind of guilty to have to receive so much support. I remember someone telling me years ago that they felt like it was harder to be the receiver than the giver, and it can be. It is hard to receive, but I think you have to accept that as a person's way of wanting to help.
Right.
And we have had so much help.
And as you said, pay it forward to those who do not have that.
Yes.
Because there's many out there that do not. But
Right.
thank you so much, ladies. And look
Thank
forward
you.
to getting the word out there.
Thank you.
We thank everyone for tuning into Table Talk and our special edition on childhood cancer awareness. We learned some very helpful information today about the disease and the families affected by it. We hope you will come back next time as we have more great guests from our local communities on Table Talk.